was indeed a very great explanation from Sir about the changing definition of workplace in terms of physical place to virtual space. And also he enlightened us all about the flexibility and adaptability. So my dear students, it's a great takeaway for all of you that we need in this new normal. Flexibility and adaptability are going to be the key terms which will help you to be more successful in your professional career. So with this, we would like to move to the further in the program, and it gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to our guest of honor, Mr. Lokesh Saxena, Managing Director, DISA India Limited, and Senior Vice President, India, Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa, Norican Group. Mr. Saxena is a mechanical engineer from I.T.S, Gwalior, and Master in Business Administration. He is currently the Managing Director of DISA India Limited. Prior to this assignment, he has worked in various management positions in Bosch Limited and SKF India Limited for over 20 years. Over the past decade, he has turned around businesses and has actively driven employee development and succession planning programs. His outside in, which is definitely an interesting approach for me also to understand, to the organization's success has helped organizations to undertake value-based initiatives benefiting customers at large. Sir has a passion to work on industry readiness initiatives for engineering students and has done active work in this area by pursuing the industry institution interface, and he serves on the board of governors at his alma mater I.T.S and has participated in various academic initiatives in many other universities and institutions. He's been nominated for a leadership program at Wharton Business School, Philadelphia from Norican Group, which will be completed soon, and has also successfully accomplished doing business in Asia DBA program, a leadership initiative for Asia business from Global HR with INSEAD Singapore. So with these enriched experience, I am sure it is going to be a very enlightening experience for all of us to listen to, sir. So I will request Mr. Lokesh Saxena to kindly address the audience with his kind words. Over to you, Lokesh ji.
Thank you, Madam Yashna. Am I audible clearly?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You're loud and clear. Thank you so much.
So when somebody asks you to write your introduction, you write so many things which are of generally no meaning to the larger crowd which is present here. But nevertheless, I think it's a great privilege for me to be a part of this conclave. And I was listening to the inaugural words from Mr. Chadda, which is very progressive. He talks about teams more than himself. And coming from Madam Sikri, which said that crisis should not go waste. And I think these two important things have really transformed the organizations as we go forward. Mr. Pathak has very, in a very elaborate way has, put down all the things which HR is doing. But I think in the current situation, in the current crisis, it was not only HR. I think it was more the responsibility at the top level of the organization, the CEOs and MDs, who really led the so-called transformation, if I say, or the need-based transformation. As we all know that the necessity is the mother of invention. And no HR, no CEO, no organization could ever anticipate what's going to come. And when it came with such a big thud that we had no option but to go into the aspects of businesses and all that. Business continuity, to me, it's all about people. It's not about business. We need people to do business, and we need people to work at a highest level to really understand how the tasks are accomplished. And the entire program, what we ran at Norican India, which is primarily a PE-based company out of Denmark, Copenhagen, and represented in DISA India Limited, which is a publicly listed company on the stock exchange in Bombay. What we started to do was really to understand how we can keep our employees safe, and that was the prime importance and the prime focus for the organization. Safety aspects for the employees really made us to define work from home processes, but a lot of challenges came in when we started to do work from home. So it was not about giving a telephone connectivity or internet connectivity at home. It was not about creating an IT infrastructure at home. Here came the kind of emotional aspects which we had to really deal with, and communication was the key in the entire program. So I remember during the period of end of March till almost last month, I have been addressing the organization almost on an alternate week basis, just to give them a solace or just to keep them engaged, to say that nothing is bad, there is a crisis, but there is an opportunity. And that's how the businesses have led has been led over a period of time by so many employers. So what was important in this entire aspects of work from home was, are we putting employees from empathy to control perspective? What is different in control versus trust? So I think it was not about the lower level part of the organization. It was more definition, and to define things at the higher management level, that how they should deal with the employees. So my challenge with the organization was, can people still instill trust on people when they are working from home? We, being in a typical manufacturing industry, have never seen work from home. And I think none of the manufacturing industry ever imagined that we'll work from home. IT and other companies were still trying to do that. So the first and foremost was, if we work from home, do we need to be video ready all the time? Do we need to be tracked? Do we need to be seen that, do we log on at 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening? So all those aspects were a big challenge for us as an organization. And all those aspects were really trying to, force us to think in different way as to how we deal with the employees. And I think HR did play the role, but I think the forefront of all the organizations were the managing directors and the CEOs, who really led the operation from the front. We did some aspects when it came to how do we continue the business, because the business went down almost 3 months. There was no business which happened between April to June, and we had to do all what a typical organization will do. We got into some salary correction, we deferred our increment programs, we postponed a lot of activities which were more a part of engagement processes across the organization. But what we did not compromise was the engagement with the employees, and also making sure that the employee morale is high. So recently what we have done is that we have hired a external consulting company, who we are putting on board, to say that any employee is having any kind of emotional questions to be asked, or anything which is going on wrong with them, they can just pick up the call and talk to this agency, and they will give them some kind of a counseling. So these kind of investments we have tried to make in the organization now, and that's what is really helping us to go forward. I think what's important is that we have to use this pandemic as a big opportunity to transform. And this transformation is not about only creating digital in the organizations, but also, as Dr. Padak said, that it's important that we define something new normal, and some of the things which we thought that will come back will never come back. So in my organization, what we have done is, we have defined a new workplace for us, which is a hybrid work structure place, where we have done away with almost like 30% of the employees will never come back to work or in an office environment, so they'll never have a permanent seat. So which will also try and help us address the cost part of the business, because at the end of it, we as organizations are always responsibility for the shareholders, and shareholders look at profits for the company, and that's what is very important for us. So what we are trying to further do is to implement these processes very well, and try to make sure that that employees are feeling safe, they are feeling not challenged on the jobs. As a part of the complete pandemic addressal, we have not removed even a single employee from the company. So we have not made any retrenchment, we have not made any exits, because the business was down. And that was something which was remarkably done well in an organization of our size. We are not a very large organization, say unlike JK. We are a very small company, but we are a very niche player and global leader in our industry which we operate in. Coming back to the point of how do we prepare ourselves or our students who are sitting there, and more for them, that what is it that they should be looking at as they go forward, because they'll be out in the marketplace very soon, and they will be in the industry, as Dr. Pade also said, that There could be different joining norms. There could be different, ways to address the appointment letters and all. But I think what is important for the students is that they should very minutely look at what are the industries they should be looking at on a short-term basis, and what is it that they are looking at the long-term basis. No industry will be in a permanent shape as it exists today. So please have a very clear understanding and an idea as what kind of industries they should be really looking at. And if I can just say that on a short term basis, some of the companies, some of the industries which they should be looking at for jobs is, of course, the IT services, which has done very well. Anything industry which is related to agriculture, which is doing very well. Pharmaceutical industry, I would even say telecom industry, to a certain extent, chemical industry. And when I'm saying short term, it's about 1 to 2 years time. Slightly going forward on a long term basis, what industries they should look at is industries out of automotive, maybe industries coming from construction and real estate, from metals and mining operations and oil and gas. So these are going to be industries which will get them jobs, not in a very short term basis, but slightly in a long term environment. So this is what these industries they should be looking at. And it's not about the industry alone. I think the preparedness for each of the student as they go forward to offer themselves in the marketplace, I think there are four important aspects. And this is not my thought process, but I read a paper coming out from Oxford Economics, which was published in way back in 2012, valid for 2022, and it is really valid for 2022 now. At that time, they had not predicted a pandemic, but they say that digital understanding of the things is going to be a basic skill need for anybody who is coming into the industry. Agile thinking approach, I think Dr. Padak elaborated on that aspect. What is agile thinking? So agile thinking approach is going to be something which is going to be very, very important for you as you go forward. Communication, both interpersonal as well as on a global basis, those kind of communications are going to be the key for you. And I think one of the important aspects is that you should be ready to work from anywhere. And that's an opportunity for a size of a country like India. I belong to Gwalior. I never lived in Gwalior for beyond my education. I have been traveling around the whole country, to work. But here is an opportunity for most of us to still be at home and still work for a company which is based in Bangalore or based in Copenhagen or based in Sweden or wherever it is. So these are some of the important things which you should keep in mind, all the students. And there's a reason behind what I'm saying, because the concluding slide on the Oxford Economics paper say that there's going to be a huge demand and supply gap and surplus across the whole world, and India is put up in a position where there's going to be a demand surplus. I mean, sorry, the supply surplus, which means the jobs will be fewer. And as you all see that in the short term also, the jobs are not coming up very well, and we don't see any major change which is going to happen in the next few years. So when the demand supply gap is huge, you have to be the best, and to be the best, you have to be skilled best.